Everyone, I think this is going to be the last live stream of the morning. Then I'm going to work on my goals update, and then I'm going to go work out. But anyways, I wanted to talk about this video first and foremost and thank the audience. One of the things that I love about this channel and being so focused on real estate, economy, consumers is all of you are sending me articles to read and review. And this one was from a subscriber talking about the Seattle housing market. And I think it's really interesting for us to look at because if you don't remember, Seattle was the first kind of hot spot in the US, right? Seattle was a hot spot before New York, right? New York clearly overtook it, and I'm not downplaying that by any means, but Seattle was first. And because it was first, we can start to see real estate data and start asking questions. Wow, from the Ivory Coast, how you doing? That's never been there. There's very few countries I haven't been to, and that's one area. So again, Seattle is interesting because it was first. And the reason we need to pay attention to is because if we can understand what's happening there first, we can interpret or estimate what may happen in other areas. So let me walk you through what I got. I will find the article again and put it in the description below so you can read it. But here's the deal, right? In February, which is when Seattle was a hotspot, they saw delinquencies in single-family homes rise 3x faster than other parts of the U.S. Specific numbers, the nation's delinquency rate in February was 3.3%. In Seattle area, in 1 month, delinquencies went up to 11.4%. That's amazing. First and foremost, if you don't know Seattle, I would call Seattle one of those expensive West Coast cities. It's not LA expensive or Bay Area expensive, but it's up there. It's probably third. It actually might be more expensive than LA. It's not more expensive than the Bay Area though, but you get the idea. It's expensive. So the fact that delinquencies went up that fast should tell you something, right? 11.4% month-on-month growth. So now you see why the CARES Act had 90 days forbearance. Because you've got to remember how this went, right? Seattle was first, then basically New York, then the CARES Act, right? That's kind of how this went. That's why you see these 90-day forbearance easy, is because Seattle was telling the politicians, hey man, you don't get ahead of this thing's gonna fucking blow up, right? This is interesting. So again, Seattle was a precursor of what could happen. So that's why I believe forbearance is or was such a hot topic in the first CARES Act or CARES Act number 2 or whatever it is. So that's interesting. The other thing that is interesting to see is in this article, they basically talk about Seattle in 2008, which was a bubbly market. It wasn't bubbly like California or maybe Arizona, but it was bubbly. It talked about the compression in delinquencies getting to the same rate in a 7-week period. Again, we have told, right, in Seattle, they told people to shelter in place first, right, before it was common elsewhere. And that is why I think we see forbearance across the board. But here's the problem. I think we are going to see higher delinquency rates in more expensive areas. And this is counterintuitive. A lot of folks have thought you're going to see the most delinquencies in quote unquote lower priced areas. And as of this data, this is not true. The most expensive areas are seeing the highest delinquencies. What does that tell you? That tells you if one of the adults loses their job, they stop paying. This is counterintuitive. I had to read this a couple of times. So here's the numbers. And again, one article, one point in time. We are going to learn a lot more in May. But this is the first piece of data from February and March for Seattle. So I've already talked about Seattle going up 11.4%. New York 9.8%. California, 10.7%. Again, this is month on month. Michigan and Ohio, 1.7%. Actually fell 1.7%. So the most expensive bubbly areas, also areas where we did shelter in place first, at least in mass. So there is that tweak. You saw delinquencies go up substantially month on month. 11.4, 9.8, 10.7. You flip the script to a cheaper area like Michigan and Ohio, they actually went down 1.7%. I thought that was interesting. Now, this could all be explained that Michigan and Ohio were not shelter in place when this went into effect. Absolutely could be that simple and that straightforward. I'm taking the other side at least slightly. I believe the expensive areas are in great trouble. This environment is telling us pretty clearly that you can work from anywhere. This work from home test, if freaking Wall Street can now have articles coming out saying it's easier and better than we expected, we are going to see an exodus from very expensive places. We are going to see exodus certainly from people who are working paycheck to paycheck, firefighters, policemen, teachers. Just why live here, right? I think the data in Seattle is something we have to pay attention to. I think Seattle, again, is probably 3 weeks ahead of California, maybe 4 weeks ahead of New York. But we're going to get a lot more data on bubbly markets in May, probably by the 15th. And I'm not sure it's going to tell a story that you and I like. I think a lot of us want to believe that the quote-unquote upper middle class is okay. I think when you see Seattle, New York, and California's delinquencies, we are going to be disappointed to see that the bubbly areas have fallen faster and harder. As for the question that just came up, you got to read the book. It's all about cash flow each and every time. I sell when people think it's about appreciation. I sold houses in 06 and apartments in 19. I don't bet on appreciation ever. It's not a part of my spreadsheet. I don't count on it. I know it exists. It's foolish. Counting on appreciation or the Burr method or anything of that nature just leads to disappointment and bankruptcy, frankly. So again, the other thing I took from this, again, there's always two tails to this. I'm trying to look at Seattle from a future, and one of the things to see is pending sales, right? What happened to pending sales? Well, mortgage applications fell in Seattle 36.9%. That doesn't make you feel good, right? You have more delinquencies, you have less buyers, you have less yes answers. That's not good. And the cherry on top to all of this is it looks like Seattle lenders are getting, I don't know if you want to call it pickier or tighter or more conservative or whatever vocabulary you want to use. Oh my goodness. Washington is extended to May 29th. Wow. May 29th. Well, I hope he revises that. I'm in my 8th week now, right? I'm in the Santa Clara County. We're in our 8th week. This is starting to drive me crazy. I won't lie. I get it. I understand it. Flatten the curve. Social distance. I got it. But man, this is not feeling good. So again, as somebody that looks at housing investing, that believes the single family house is the best investment for the 10 years, I still believe that's true. Right? In most markets, a single family home is going to be the best rental investment. We are going to be increasingly renter nation. What I mean by that is, let's say owner occupant is 61% today. I don't know what it is, but let's just say it's 61. Yeah, it could be 55, 56% inside of 2 years. Renting is going to be a choice for more and more folks. More and more folks are going to remember the 08 crash, this health scare, and they're going to be like, nope, I don't want to own. I want to rent. more less risky. That's just what's going to happen. So in the end, I want to thank all of you for sending me articles. Thanks for the Seattle-based articles. If you get more about Seattle real estate, please let me know. I think it is the canary in the coal mine. I think they're 3 or 4 weeks ahead of California and New York. So I think Seattle data, Washington data is very, very interesting to me. Again, we are in for a couple of years of pain. I don't know how else to say it. But at the end of the day, this is my 3rd live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I now need to work on my goals spreadsheet because every Sunday I tell you how I did with my goals. Take care, everyone. Bye.